Should your business website have one or several service pages? Especially if you're creating a new website, an idea of having a common services page that lists all the information about your services may seem appealing. Your prospects will be able to read about your services in one place without having to navigate through multiple pages. How convenient is that? Plus, you will have to pay less for copywriting and design because your website will have fewer pages. But what if I told you that the former is rather a disadvantage and the latter may cost you more money in the future? Keep watching this video to find out when it's better to list every service on a separate service page and when a common services page that lists the information about all of your services will be enough. Hi, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Jill Andrews, a conversion copywriter and website consultant, and today I would like to help you make an informed decision when it comes to how many service pages your website should have. Let's look at the advantages of having several service pages with each page describing one separate service. Advantage number one, and the biggest advantage in my opinion, is that you will have enough space to make a persuasive argument, especially if you operate in niches where the threshold of entering this profession is low, like a copywriter, personal trainer, a life coach, maybe even web designer, where somebody can just wake up one morning and declare themselves a copywriter, web designer, and a personal trainer. You will have to provide some information that shows your prospects that you can be trusted and explain why they have to choose you. It is very hard to do this on only one page for all the services, because for each service you will have to include information about the service, include testimonials, maybe links to the case studies, maybe if you're dealing with the audience of lower awareness, to educate them a bit, and especially if we're talking about high competitive or highly saturated niches, to explain them why choose you for this particular service. If you start doing it for every service on one page, it will become extremely cluttered and it will be difficult to get your prospects to read everything. Plus, you may lose some prospects for whom the services that come last are relevant because they just won't have the patience to scroll down and to read about this. Advantage number two. Because you will link to these separate service pages in the navigation, either as main navigation labels if you have, let's say, two services, or as a drop-down menu under the common label services, your prospects will have an easier job understanding what you offer and finding a page that is relevant for them. In my experience, looking at probably hundreds, by now maybe thousands, session replays and heat maps, I observe that people use navigation the most. Regardless of how great your homepage is, a lot of people will not interact with its full size, with the full content, but will establish the relevancy through banner and the beginning of the page and then use navigation labels to proceed to find relevant content. If you have a common services page, you cannot provide them information about what you offer in navigation. You cannot offer them a next step to read about a particular service. Their only way to find relevant information is to scroll down common services page and see if there is something relevant. Not everybody will do it, and establishing relevancy value often and offering the next step that is relevant and valuable is very important in the user journey if you would like to keep your prospects long on the website, get a higher chance of changing their opinion about you, what they know about you, changing their mind state from where they are now to where they have to be to convert. Individual service pages do this much better. Reason number three, ranking individual service pages in search is much easier than ranking a common services page for the same keywords. It's especially important for businesses who are relying on local customers who would like to be found through queries like service XYZ near me. For a common services page that deals with multiple services, it would be nearly impossible to optimize your page for these queries. For the individual service pages, especially for local businesses, it's much easier. It's not even impossible for businesses that operate globally. For example, my website audit services page is ranking number 2 for its relevant keyword. And about 50% of my inquiries come through search without me having to do anything, without me having to post somewhere, without me having to send cold emails, which I've never done in my life. Wouldn't it be great for you to just open your inbox and see new inquiry that came automatically from search? Sure, it won't be possible for everybody. If your niche is extremely saturated, if you do not have this service XYZ near me advantage, it may be more difficult or not, or impossible. You have to look to do some keyword research to understand if it applies to you, but chances are it is. And with having a common services page, you're completely destroying this advantage. Reason number 4 to use separate service pages is to keep up with your competitors. Of course, it depends on your niche, but if you look at your competitor websites that prospects compare you with, because nobody shops in a vacuum or hires somebody in a vacuum, they always will have websites open next to your website in their browser. And your competitors have multiple service pages with every service page dedicated to a particular service. They can provide a better argument why a person should hire them, then you're automatically losing to them if you have just one service pages, especially if your prospects came to expect individual service pages dedicated to each service. Recently, I reviewed a website of a client who was providing website management services, and he had one common service page. I recommended creating separate service pages for his website. However, this is what he wrote to me. Separate pages for each service? I feel that requiring more clicking around is an unnecessary ask for site visitors. Like, why not see it all on one page instead of waiting for pages to load? We only have a handful of services, so I'm not sure how effective it would be to ask visitors to click to a separate page for each one. What are your thoughts here? If this is the exact argument you have in your head against that, I can reassure you that your visitors do not mind at all clicking through separate service pages. They are used to it. This is what they came to expect. This is what is prototypical for most of the niches and cases. So they do not see it as an additional task. They just see it as a way to acquire information. And regarding the waiting for the pages to load, they should not be waiting for the pages to load. If they feel that they are waiting for a page to load, you have a problem of page load speed, not the problem with the amount of pages. Generally speaking, it's a good idea to always see what competitors are doing, to always see what your prospects came to expect in your niche. But even if we disregard the niche, in my experience, whatever niches I look at, majority of the websites have separate service pages, and the ones who have one service page, I'm not quite sure if it's effective. So I would recommend doing yourself a favor if your prospects need a lot of persuasion, where you would like to get good quality inquiries on autopilot, where you would like your prospects already come to you, liking and trusting you to some level, having separate service pages. Still, the question remains, are there any cases where having a common services page is better or will be enough? The answer to this question is connected to what kind of prospects come to your website. If you are driving people to your website who already know, like, and trust you to the maximum, for example, from your networks that you build offline, maybe you are a speaker and you specialize in building in-personal relationships offline, and the only thing you need to get inquiries is to provide people minimum of information to prove, yes, this is your website, yes, you're legit, yes, you exist, and this is the way to contact you. If the prospects coming to your website are very close to saying shut up and take my money because they got all this liking and trusting and knowing you from other sources, a common services page may be enough. The thing is, I asked my network about examples. I asked them, please, if you're a business owner with a website who has a single services page that works well for you, please send me a link. I would like to feature you in my article, in my video. Nobody came forward. So theoretically speaking, yes, it has its place if you're using your website as a business card and building credibility and expertise and spreading your growing your brand in a different way, then it may be enough. But I think even if you're Oprah of web design or Ellen of copywriting, I think even people like that have separate services pages, so you need to think about it. Again, just look at your context. How do you drive your prospects? How much persuasion do your prospects need to reach out? How much time do you have to deal with prospects who have very low awareness and repeat the same information through email? Ask yourself that. My personal recommendation in 99% of the cases is to have separate service pages, each page dedicated to an individual service. All right, I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions or suggestions for a topic you would like to see me talk about in my next video, just leave me a comment. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up to help more business owners just like you see my videos in their feed, and subscribe to my channel if you yourself would like to see more of my videos.